agent better.
Hello, and we're live. Gidget joined us. Hi, Gidget. Welcome to the third episode of Games on the Rocks, brought to you by the Meeples included. I have a couple of Meeples with me. I am Stephanie Straw. We also have the lovely Suzanne Sheldon. Suzanne.
Sorry, my sound is on.
Oh, hi! I am a professional.
This was before the drinking started.
Oh, man.
Well, I might have had a few. But, I mean, like, the audio was weird because I was listening to the Twitch ad.
Me too.
It was so compelling. I'm sorry, Stephanie.
Hi, everybody.
I'm the worst. We're professional. Oh, my gosh.
So we're not professionals. We'll try that again. Hi, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Welcome
Hi.
to Games on the Rocks. We have Suzanne Sheldon with us.
Cheers. Hello, Internets.
Suzanne, what are you drinking?
I know this is a big shocker. I'm drinking an old-fashioned because I didn't have any blue things to make tonight's signature drink, and I'm lazy. But I did make it double size so that it lasts the whole show, hopefully.
It's really funny. I did the same thing, so.
I'll drink
Me
it
too.
double fast, and it's going to get really interesting really quickly.
So we also have the lovely Marguerite Cottrell with us.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone. I am drinking our signature beverage.
Woo! Ooh, so
I'm
blue.
feeling very proud of myself because I had blue things in my cabinet. So.
I am also drinking our signature beverage. I'll
Cheers.
put the recipe up on screen for everybody. It is the Watch It Sipped cocktail. This is a play on the lovely Rodney Smith and Watch It Played. 2 ounces of white wine, 2 ounces of Hypnotic, splash of, it has to be Canada Dry ginger ale, of course, and then garnish it with a cherry and a lime. So the cherry and the lime are part of the Watch It Play colors along with the blue. So the blue and the red and the green, if you're a fan of the show, are the Watch It Played colors, so that's why I went with them. So anyway, that's what we're drinking. Actually, and you know what? I was like, we need to.
Boy, you did the garnish and everything?
Yes, you
So-
have to.
You're so fancy. My gosh.
So mine is slightly different, though. I didn't use any of the actual ingredients you mentioned except for the cherry and the lime. It's a whole different cocktail.
What's making it blue?
Blue Carousel. It's
Oh,
basically
okay.
like triple sec.
Cool. So tonight, thanks everyone for joining. Definitely be sure to type in the Twitch chat. We love having all of you here. And we will definitely, if you have any questions or anything, we'll be addressing those as you ask them. So the show format tonight is we were just going to talk for a little bit about what we've been playing. Feel free to talk about what you've been playing too. It might spark some interest, and we might want to talk about that on the show. And then we're going to talk about, so be thinking of this, how media affects the board game industry. Because that's like meta, that's what we're doing right now. So that's what we're going to talk about after we talk about what we've been playing. Mags and Suze have been playing a lot without me, so I'm going to let them talk about what they've been playing.
You were there in spirit, Stephanie, I promise. We talked about you the whole time.
Well, it's all we did.
Yep. Oh, we miss Stephanie. Oh, if Stephanie was here, she would totally screw me over on this placement. So, it worked out well.
To be fair, that's all we ever talk about.
Exactly. No, we played so many games. It was really nice because Marguerite and I haven't had a chance to play games together recently. And it was a very restorative night of gaming, even though I massively lost on such a huge scale on some of these games. But I did get to play Millennium Blades finally. And oh my gosh, personally, I think it's amazing. I had so much fun. The game is wild. It's unique. It's unlike anything I've ever played before. It was frantic, and I'm glad Brian and Marguerite took it really easy on me. They didn't force me to do the real-time deck building, which was just good because we still tried to keep it pretty quick, but there were drinks on the table, and I have a feeling if we tried to do it real-time, like, knowing me, those drinks would have been flying because you feel this pressure, and you're going through these cards, and you're buying, and you're trading. It was... I loved it. I cannot wait to play again. And there's so much content in that box. It's amazing. Like, I can't imagine getting sick of that content, like, or getting tired of it anytime
like
soon.
An actual banker to like put all that together. Like, I think you have to have like financial training just to like put all those banknotes together.
It's hilarious, but it's actually fun to toss these little stacks of money around. It's
easy. It's like the real time part of it got way easier with those stupid bundles.
Yeah, and I am not compulsive about things like that. So I just in my set, I just put the stickers around the paper money and let it go. And when you line them up, like they're all like jagged and offset, and I think that they're probably gamers that I play with that will cry when they see it, but it makes me laugh. But Marguerite, so that was your second no, that was like your fourth or fifth game.
No, this is only my third.
It's
only my third.
And I mean, how's it holding up after 3 plays for you then?
I still pretty much have the same opinion of it after 3 plays as I did after 1, where I put it in the same bucket that I would put Chaosmos, that it may not be the best game that's ever been made, but I have so much fun playing it.
Awesome.
Like, I love Chaosmos, and I love things like that. Factory Funner also kind of falls into that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the not super deep strategy, but still a lot of rules type games that I call them gamer party games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I totally get that.
Gamer party game. So what else is a gamer party game?
The most famous one for me, like, it's my baseline for it, is Robo Rally. There's a crap ton going on in that game, and pre-programming and lots of rules and lots of where does this go when you hit it and where does it go when it's on a conveyor belt. That's a lot to track, but at its core, it's this wackadoodle game where you never know what's going to happen. There's not a lot of strategy to it.
Wackadoodle. I beg your pardon. Robo Rally is a highly strategic gaming experience where every move can be perfectly planned. Exactly.
So something like Dancing Eggs, is that a gamer party game, or is that just a party game?
That's either a children's game or a con game for me.
Yeah, I mean, how much of this have you had? And then, then we'll talk about a party game. I don't know. So, Steph, what about you? What's something that you've been playing, little lady? That sounded creepy. Sorry. How you doing, little lady?
Yeah, I'm a big girl. I am 21 at least. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch. I've been cheating on the board game industry and playing a lot of Overwatch. So
Stephanie Straw.
You know what? But there's a game that I feel like I don't want to talk about it yet, but there's a game that I have that I feel like is Overwatch the board game, and it's actually a fairly old game. And so it kind of makes me want to play that. So video games actually make me want to play board games, and board games sometimes make me want to play video games. So,
but the central theme there being more games.
Yeah, just lots of gaming.
So many games, lots of games.
Yeah, I'm actually not in a role-playing game right now, so I'm usually in like an ongoing campaign. But Maggie and I are gonna do View Scream on Sunday together, and I'm so excited.
Who's running the campaign?
John Gilmore.
Who's John Gilmore? I've never heard of this person before. No, just a guy. John is a fairly, popular name.
To be fair, I've actually never met him in person, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Racking my brain. We've been at the same cons at the same time, but I've like seen him across a room. Waved a little. But yeah, most of our interactions are Twitter and Facebook.
I basically want to just pretend like I'm on the bridge in Star Trek for like a couple of hours. I'm so pumped about it. I love Artemis, which is like the other kind of like space bridge.
I love Artemis
type game. Yeah, so I just want to be like, engineering, we need more power. Like
in Artemis, I just always want to be the communications officer because I get the big red button. And I mean, surely I would never abuse that power by randomly pushing the button. But
yeah, and comms,
if
you
that
also
were to
get to like talk
happen.
to the ships and like dirt, like you're mean to them, like you insult their mothers. Some of them, I don't know. It's
completely polite, completely.
Are you guys reading this Millennium Blade things in the chat? Sorry, completely distracted in the chat right now.
Focus on more than one thing at a time. It hurts my brain.
You need to throw the eyepatch back.
Oh, stop. Oh, my
That's
goodness.
right. So last episode, if you joined us, first of all, thank you. Sue's had an eye patch, and we on purpose did not mention the eye patch throughout the entire show.
Not once.
So that was on purpose Just so you know.
Achievement unlocked. Nobody noticed a thing. It was awesome. Okay, Margaret, you tell them about the horribleness that is Dilluvia Project.
Oh, so Dilluvia Project is stop it. Dilluvia Project is this giant Spielworks game that came out maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. My timing is not so good with that. Or no, it was like a year ago, like less than a year ago. But it's basically a mix of sort of a Targi-esque bid on one side, which is also sort of seen in Quadropolis, and a worker placement part where you get to use as many of your workers to do a given action as you want, which is kind of fun to try and balance. And then a complete like big old building, area control, in-game scoring, points of Palooza on the other side. It's this giant board, like literally one of the biggest boards I've seen outside of like Tricarion or something.
Show
And
me with
it's
your hands how big the board is.
It's really big. I can't do it on this camera though. It's about this big. Compared to my head.
I'm like forcing perspective. I'm using art techniques.
That's so good though. That's why we have you here. See?
Like
that's
how many Monopoly boards is it?
2? Maybe
Yeah.
I guess new Monopoly or original.
Whoa!
I have not had enough to drink yet, clearly. Oh my goodness.
The original board, it would be about 1 1/4 length and about 1.5 width.
It's ridiculously
this is a
huge.
professional fucking show right here.
It's enormous. It's enormous. It's a table hog. It's wild. It's silly. It's ridiculous. And it's super fun. But it has
I can give you an idea of how big it is because West of Africa is the same length but not the same width.
It's actually the
really
size
talking
of
about
the
length and
entire
width right now?
West
All
of
right.
Africa. Yeah.
Of the whole West of Africa.
But Dilluvia has some of the most. So that game, I loved all the pieces of it. It was just so much fun, and every kind of phase of the game was intriguing and engaging because it's the first time I got to play it. So Margaret and Brian taught it, and it was wonderful. And the art is beautiful. I really like the style. Like the theme is you're like on this floating city, and you're building structures on this floating city. We'll call it a theme. But that game suffers from some of the worst component that I have ever seen. Like just weirdness that is ridiculous.
The score track isn't even in order.
Oh, there's a couple. Isn't Among the Stars like that too, where it like goes like loopy, 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 loopy?
Among the Stars, I remember being the worst thing. Like for the score track was like this really funky thing. You had these giant pieces that didn't really fit on it. I remember that, but this one literally like it goes 63, 67, 65, 66, 67.
Yep.
Like it.
So it's like the locations in Legends of Andor then.
Yes.
And they give you a player color is red and a resource color is purple. But somehow like the purple cubes are if you took the red cubes and soaked them in water for 5 minutes and then dried them off. And the fade that happens in that 5 minutes is the only difference between the purple resource cubes and the player red cubes. And we consistently ran out of player cubes. So then we were using like resource cubes and we're like claiming resource cubes to be our secondary color. And then there was like a fight over who got ochre and who got black. Yeah, it was tremendously stressful. Not really. But I mean, that game was, talk about Euro fantastic. It was Euro fantastic.
Like it's a little bit of everything.
A cornucopia.
Did it have, okay, so you say smorgasbord and that makes me think of point buffets or point salads. Did it have
point buffets.
Did it have multiple paths to victory?
After playing it several times, it doesn't. It's tactical how you get to the points, but the points only come from a specific couple places. Like you got to build gardens. You can't get away from building gardens and building giant buildings next to the gardens. So you have to do some things, but how you get there and spending your money well and making sure you're good at the bidding part make it feel different.
I always think that I'm going to be really bad at bidding games, and I've actually said this on several podcasts. I'm terrible at bidding games. I hate bidding games. But then I play games that have heavy bidding in them, and I end up doing well at them. like we played number 49, and I don't know. Is it because I'm like tight? Am I like I don't want to spend a lot of money? Is that kind of good in bidding games, or?
Depends entirely on the game, and especially on who you're playing with. Like, you've played a lot of Ponzi scheme at this point, right? And okay, and
now I know that I am not financially responsible enough to own a house. Like, I shouldn't own this house. Like, my mortgage should be taken away from me because I'm like, it's only $180,000. I can pay that back.
Well, but like in Ponzi scheme, you get the games where it's really smart to take like a bear on the second turn, and then there are games where if you do that, you're gonna be the person to take down the game. Like, it really depends, and that's the same type of thing as bidding games. You gotta feel the table.
Speaking of bidding games, drinking is like the bidding game of life. And someone wanted to know what our signature cocktail was, so I'm going to put that up real quick and remind everyone that if you would like to join us, we will post our cocktail up a little bit before the show on a Friday. We're not going to do it every Friday, but kind of every other Friday. And we're going to try and do fun things with the cocktail. If you have a cocktail you would like to recommend, then please do tweet at us your cocktail suggestions. So this one is obviously a nod to Rodney Smith of Watch It Played because we love him. So yeah, and Mags and I are both drinking that. Mine's in a Deadpool glass. Look at this on point.
Mine is from Shilling Cider, which is delicious and wonderful. So
I bet you're not drinking Shilling Cider.
No, but it was a cider glass because Nicole is not here today.
Oh,
that's right.
And now I have a sad.
Yes, I Heart Museums. Nicole is not here with us because she's gone back to the motherland. That's right. It's the motherland, right? Australia. She lives in Toronto, but she's from Australia, so she's going back for a couple of weeks. So she won't be with us for 2 shows. Our next show is going to be on the 24th, and she won't be there either. But we are pretending like she's here and drinking for her. So.
Amen.
We're also upping our sass by about 20% just to make up for her not being here.
And speaking of, so she's been posting about playing the Castles of Burgundy card game a lot. Mags, have you played that?
Yeah, I played it twice so far. It is fun. It is a really good way of making a card game out of the regular Castle of Burgundy dice game, and it's 45 minutes, but this is sad. I think it has the best strategy already. I think it just does. We've played it twice, and twice, everything you want to do in that game involves just stacking cash, and that's all you do. And I really hope someone's played it 10 times and found other strategies, but so far it doesn't look like it's going to stay in my collection.
Oh, wow. I'm really bummed to hear that. I was looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to La Granja, the dice game, and I'm looking forward to... no, they have a La Granja, the dice game.
You're making that up. Like, you're just making games up right now.
I am. I desperately feel the need for attention right now, so I'm lying.
To Codenames, the trick-taking dice game.
That'll be a good one.
If there was a Codenames Legacy already, it's fine.
And then what the witch game with the cards and this thing that started as a card game but then became a board game and now is going back to a card game, like that one too.
What one?
The one I'm talking about, Broom Service.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. That was super cryptic, Suze. What are you?
It was so obvious, guys. How many witch-themed games that like were card games that go to area control games that go back to card games?
I don't
know.
I do like Broom Service.
There's one, but...
So anyway, those are the ones I'm looking forward to, and I was really looking forward to Castles of Burgundy, the card game.
I actually think it's worth $15. I would pay for it again.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
It's a $15 game that I would most definitely hands down buy again. So
I look to Mags for my gaming, not cooperative games because she doesn't care for cooperative games, but strategy gaming and competitive gaming. I go to Mags because we're usually like this on the games.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I just sit over there and play Dr. Eureka and watch you guys.
Everything.
Dr. Eureka is a good game. That's a good game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So
Thank you,
let's talk about
Stephanie.
that game. I played that at BGG. Is that when you first played that?
Yes. No. Yes. Yes. The convention with the tables and stuff.
If we were playing and guess which convention Sue's played that game at, you would lose and I would win. So Dr. Eureka, yeah, blue-orange games. You have different colored balls and then cards that tell you, like, or I guess they're like elements or chemicals or I don't know, whatever. Very thematic. And then you have cards that tell you what order they have to go in, and you have to get them right in all of your little test tubes, and then like slam your test tubes down really quickly. So this game is my jam.
It's well, I don't think you and I played against each other, Stephanie. So this might not because like most games, because most games, I will fully admit, Stephanie will kick my butt in. That girl. She knows games. She is smart. She's strategic. She picks up on strategy, and she sees how the mechanics work together really, really quickly. And I don't do that, right?
My near perfect game of patchwork against Sue's being extra life.
But I am a bit of a Dr. Eureka savant. Apparently, rolling balls and tubes is my jam. And so I love you, Stephanie, but we may have to throw down.
What?
We may have to throw down.
Play with where you can't put them down and you have to have them all in your hand all at the same time?
Yes, I can handle all the tubes. I can handle all the tubes. I can pass all the balls. I can do it where you tip the tube upside down and slam it down that way.
Can you do it in a box? Would you do it with a box?
Yeah.
Every time we make this,
yes and yes.
This is the third episode in a row. We're at 100% success rate for me making that joke that nobody laughs at. Yeah.
I'm laughing on the inside. No, really. Anyway.
I was gonna bring up one quick thing because I got to play my village next to someone playing the Castle of Burgundy card game last night. So I'm playing the dice version of the board game while they play the card version of the board game. It was fun and funky. But my village, did you get to play it?
I have not gotten
to
play
played it.
We're actually going to have an event at my store for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're doing like a splash thing. Stronghold Games has started doing these like weird event thingies in stores and stuff.
That's actually from Envoy Double Exposure. It's a thing that they do. And so Stronghold is just like a really big, they just really utilize Envoy Double Exposure. They use them to staff all of their booths and stuff like that. So if you're ever interested in, you just want to go to a con and you want to work at a publisher's booth, then contact Vinny or Avenel at Double Exposure Envoy, and they can totally hook you up. But Stronghold's been using that a lot, and they've done a lot of splashes, but for some reason, this one is like, Alliance is like going real hard at it. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not really doing it, but... It's hard in this season. There's just so many big events that you can do. It's hard to pick just one board game instead of doing like a bigger, more inclusive event.
Yeah, and so one of the heralds of Double Exposure actually contacted me and was like, hey, do you think this would do well? And I was like, we kind of have a hard time filling board game tournaments, actually, so I don't know how well just a full event for this is going to go, but we're doing an adult game night at the end of the month, and so he's going to have it available there to demo. So I think that will be successful because it's piggybacked on another event, but I think if we were just like, hey, it's a My Village board game event, like, no offense, Stronghold, Steven, I love you, but I don't know if that would be as successful. It's just, I don't know, board games just don't think that way, like, so far.
It doesn't work that way, and we already have the libraries and stuff like that, so it's harder to... People have played demo copies, they're not that super jazzed about it.
Yeah, we did a release party for Warhammer Quest, and so.
You sure did.
I'm gonna have a drink right now. So. Tasty.
Silver Tower, y'all. Woo!
So I'm at the awkward part in my drink where I have the delicious cherries at the bottom of my cup, but I have no not awkward way to get them out.
I know, I'm thinking, like, considering a fork at this point.
Like, I don't have extra brush.
No, hold on. If you are a Dr. Eureka pro, that should be no problem for you right now.
Okay. When you fill your tubes with water and are trying to pass balls then you can kind of throw shade my way over that. But really, come on.
I'm certain we're not talking about board games anymore.
Certain, yeah. Although there would be an interesting drinking game with Dr. Eureka tubes, tequila, and balls and cherries.
I
have to think this one through.
Yeah, I think that you should not think it through.
Why are you being so discouraging to my hopes and my dreams?
Oh my gosh, that's the best idea ever. Please do that.
Thank you. It's
Your
more like it.
process is amazing.
Whatever. And you did also. I'd like to point out you didn't solve my cherry problem, but thanks for nothing.
Get a fork.
I'm just checking in chat. How you doing? How's chat doing?
They're being hilarious.
They are being hilarious. I keep looking over and reading it, and I'm like, I want to.
Oh, but we were going to talk about my village. We got to
Someone
sidetrack.
said that Suze is the master of the internet. We'll contest that.
I'm gonna take it.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Meg,
Stephanie.
I am the living internet. What are you doing?
You are the living internet. She is the master of the internet.
Suze is the master.
I'm Stephanie's master. I'm Stephanie's master. Oh my gosh, I've never been happier in my life. This is exciting. I have to think what I can do with this power. I got to think about what I can do with this power. I don't want it to go to my head, but I just feel like I really have to take advantage of this opportunity. Okay.
I'll play you.
It's gonna end in a lot of games with Loop and Chewy.
I'll play you in Patchwork for Reign of the Internet.
Yes, I would like to see that happen.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm so scared. Gidget doesn't like this conversation.
Gidget doesn't.
All right.
She's like, no. She's like, I am the master.
Cat. Well, to be fair, cats do rule the internet. I mean, if anything rules the internet, a cat does. Oh, her eyes are so big. She looks terrified.
No.
She looks so scared.
No, she just has big eyes. Okay, so I think, do you guys have any other games that you want to talk about, or shall we jump into the topic?
Topic. Games, schmames.
Topic. Okay, so we thought that it would be interesting to talk about how board game media affects the board game industry. So that could include Kickstarter, review sites, vlogs, people just having opinions, Twitter, social media, Instagram, my cat, just whatever, just how media affects the board game industry, because I think that even plus BoardGameGeek.com has a huge effect on what kind of games we see, have exposure to, and then what games are hyped, and then ultimately what games we purchase and play. So I'm going to kick it off to Mags, because she looks like she has words.
I didn't have any words.
Have any words? Okay, then I'm going to kick it off
Well,
to
no,
Suze.
well, I had one thing to add to your list. I got to add one thing to your list. The Wil Wheaton Effect. We got to talk about it.
Well, let's start there, because I don't know what the Wil Wheaton Effect is, but I think as a retailer, you may.
So there's this Wil Wheaton Effect. Anytime he would put a game onto tabletop for the first 2 seasons, that game would immediately get purchased up by resellers. Thousands of units would get taken off the market, waited till they were inflated, sold back to the market at a markup. The companies that make those games would have to make extra copies really fast that they weren't expecting to do. And this happened for 2 or 3 seasons. They're trying to get around it now, where they try and get the production of those games up really high before the episode comes out. But it's a pretty interesting thing, especially as a retailer. The Wil Wheaton Effect is banned everywhere, thank God. But I think Wil Wheaton is an interesting one, because I wouldn't consider him he's not where I go to find a game that I would like to purchase, but somebody's looking there.
Well, that's because you're not his audience, right? I mean,
Right.
It feels like Will's audience are novice gamers, people who are just entering the hobby, who have just heard about Catan or, some random game that they stumbled upon. And whereas you outclass his gaming knowledge 10-1, right?
Yeah,
But I don't know. I don't know if
trying
he
to-
doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to be, I think he's bringing awareness to the hobby, and that's great. I absolutely love that and appreciate that. Whether or not I care for him as a human being or not is totally aside from that. But he is bringing attention and awareness to the hobby. Geek and Sundry is doing that, and I think that they would do that without Wil Wheaton, but I think that it has been more powerful with Wil Wheaton just because of his presence and also his appearance on The Big Bang Theory, because I think that a lot of people didn't know who he was before that, so it was kind of this little domino effect,
No, I mean, his voice is hugely influential, and I mean, ultimately, no matter how, if he is somebody's introduction to the hobby, awesome. I mean, notoriety, celebrity, awareness, audience that he has will help draw new players into the hobby. I totally welcome it. And when you think about what I'm wondering though, is do people who come in through the hobby, is there a cascade effect? So obviously, Margaret, you talked about like the retail, the sales impact that his show has on the industry. But then I'm wondering about Wil Wheaton's impact, if any, on media, on board game media, right? Because ultimately, Wil Wheaton does a very small subset of games, both in depth, like complexity. I mean, obviously, for a lot of reasons, he has to focus on a certain kind of range of games. And then also in volume, you know, he has a very highly produced show that is great quality, but he only covers 20 games.
Maybe,
you know, whereas there are a lot of bloggers, a lot of vloggers, a lot of reviewers, podcasters, etc., that cover 10 times that many games.
Yeah, but they
weren't right
Star
in a
Trek.
given time period.
They weren't on Star Trek.
Well, true, yeah. But or Stand By Me, which is my preferred way to remember him. But
that's what
I mean. Do you think that cascades? Like somebody comes into the hobby and then they're like, "Oh, that looks cool," and then somehow they start looking for games, and then they discover things like Meeples Included, or other bloggers, or other Dice Tower, or things like that. Or do you think it just kind of, what does it take to make that leap? And then for media people who I've seen kind of as a growth, right, of people who are producing board game content, what do those people have to do to try to leverage that awareness to draw their own audiences in?
I mean, I honestly think that Geek and Sundry has the power now to give recognition to those people that are doing board game media well, aside from them. I just don't know if they want to do that or not. I don't know if they really have been doing that. I think that they have been less, and I don't mean that this as a dig on them before, but I think they've been less self-serving lately. And I think that they are kind of recognizing other things that are doing stuff in the board game industry. I think they just wanted to find their legs, and now it's like, well, you're here and you're not going away. So I think that they are supporting other people more, but I think that they could do more of that, and I think it would have more of an impact.
That's a great point. I can definitely see that point.
Have they featured, like, just as an example to our signature drink, have they featured Watch It Played? Have they said, hey, if you want to find out how to play this game, watch this? I mean, I know that they talk about how to play games, but maybe if they were to say, hey, if games we don't feature on the show, if you want to learn how to play them, go watch It Play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it seemed like, so one little line in the chat, someone said, yeah, Wil Wheaton retweeted my stuff and that's why people were reading my blog. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty accurate, like one good retweet, and that's a lot of people that would never have heard of you from a huge entity like Geek and Sundry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he has me blocked, so that's not going to happen.
I'm not yet blocked by him. I don't know what I did.
It was just one tweet is all that it took from me.
Stephanie, you're such a pot stirrer.
I'm not, though. That's the funny thing, is I am so neutral. I'm so like neutral positive. I'm so like, I just love games. Like, I'm not even negative on games, but I did say.
So are you chaotic neutral, or are you chaotic good? What were you? Lawful good?
I did.
No,
I'm not
clearly
lawful.
not.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, clearly not
lawful
that.
Neutral. No, I did. I said something that was probably not very nice, and he blocked me. He has a very itchy band finger.
To be fair, so do I. Like I love that block. Like, the block is my friend. It's so much fun.
The list I used the day that we were having some trouble, I used Wil Wheaton's block list as my block list. And you
blocked me.
No, it's only people that have followed specific individuals on the internet and that have harassed him. Like, there's like 10,000 of them, and I just clicked one button and I blocked them all.
Yeah,
it was great.
I did not harass him. I did ask him if he drove the bus that he was throwing people under, or if he had someone do it for him. Was the tweet that I did.
Yes, it was. God, I love you, Stephanie. Like, my heart is just 2 sizes bigger.
No, I do
over
actually.
that.
I really do appreciate what he's done for the hobby. He really has done positive things, and that's really cool. I am sorry, Wil Wheaton, that I said that a little bit.
Well, and yeah, it's funny because I've gotten more scoop on some of that. Anyway, yeah, Anyway, so what other media? See, I'm the best at segues.
Outside of Wil Wheaton, so what? Obviously, we could do a whole show about Kickstarter, right? But how do we feel that? Okay, so awareness of games. Like, people have done polls all over the internet of, like, how do you find about new board games? Is it word of mouth? Is it Kickstarter? Is it podcast? Is it Board Game Geek? Is it your friendly local game store? And I feel like media is often the number one answer for that people often are not hearing about it from their friendly local game store, and they're hearing about it on Board Game Geek, Kickstarter, or podcast, or something, or a show like this. What do you guys think about that?
I think that the Dice Tower in our industry, specifically like the niche hobby game industry, the Dice Tower and Board Game Geek to a lesser extent because it's more of a platform than a content producer. They do produce some content, but a Dice Tower has a huge impact on knowledge. I don't know that they will necessarily sell or kill a game, with some very famous exceptions. I do think that they present a lot of information, though, on the internet. They have a hell of a lot of games and contributors, and they do 6 reviews a week. So it's hard not to have consumed what they do more than anyone else. They just do more than anyone else.
No, yeah, they've been around. I mean, to be popular in board game media, you have to have been around for a really long time, have consistency. So longevity and just consistency and like tons of content, just like tons and tons and tons. No one will ever be able to catch up. We've had this conversation before. No one will ever be able to catch up with Tom Bassel on the Dice Tower network. Like, it's not going to happen.
But you don't have to. You don't have to, I think, to build a brand. And I think that, you nailed it with the consistency. So it's not even volume so much to me. It is consistency and a baseline of quality that'll enable people to, grow whatever they're trying to do in board game content. But when you talk about influence on the industry, without a doubt, Dice Tower is so prolific, and in part because they've been around so long, they've built a kind of a groundswell of audience that's then enabled them financially to support more content that, then just ensures that they have the volume out there. But I do think, and in a way, in a niche, right? If Wil Wheaton is kind of this bubble, and then you get people into the hobby, then the Dice Tower is probably that next level, right? As far as like what people will find.
Because I think you and I and everyone else that are probably in this chat with us are in another bubble. Mm-hmm. Like the Dice Tower is out here, which is great, and we all know that they produce a ton of cool stuff. But then we all kind of find those people that really speak to our tastes.
There's like a Twitter bubble, I guess, which is interesting.
There's definitely different communities, and there's a BGG bubble.
Yeah, for sure. There's on the forums of BGG, and then there's Twitter, and then there's like Facebook. I think that Facebook and Twitter kind of mesh a little bit more. But I think there are people on BGG that are like not on Facebook and Twitter, and they're just only on the BGG forums and all that. But and that's like it's a different thing.
Do you think that BGG forums are more or less influential than like a reviewer? I'm wondering on like purchase decisions, because I mean, I see a lot of chatter around the hobby and things like that, but like, I'm wondering, because some people are talking in the chat about like personalities and attaching to people and understanding, finding somebody who shares your taste. Like you find somebody that's reviewed things a lot that you're like, oh yeah, I agree with them on that. And then you're like, oh, this is a person I can trust in their taste, and then you follow that? Or do you feel like just like peer awareness and word of mouth is more powerful, so something like a forum can have a lot of influence in purchase decisions? Or is it just so individual it's not?
I think that the BGG forums have a lot of power because it's a database first. So people go there just to look up games, and then they have access to all of this other stuff about the game. So they have access to all of the posts about the games, the podcasts, the videos, like all of the stuff that links to the game, the designer, the publisher, all that stuff. So you can just look at the forum posts, and if, say, one's titled like "this game is trash" and I'll tell you why, then someone's going to click on that. And whether or not they know that person, if they have a well-written, well-thought-out, like coherent response to why that game is trash, people are going to listen to that and pay attention to that. Like whether they know them or not. I think podcasts are a little different because I don't think that people can't just wander into podcasts. Obviously they do, that's how they grow. But I don't think that they will just take the opinion of someone on a podcast as much. I also don't think that people on podcasts will have as like formatted and well thought out, like this is what I think about the game, as on forums. Because it's more conversational. It can get very boring if you're just listening to someone like me talking right now. Very boring. If this was maybe written, it could be more interesting. I don't know. But I think that people will trust random strangers on a forum more than like podcasts and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, so let me ask you this then. What do you think about when you think about like video or podcasts, which I'm referencing specifically because you engage with the content differently than something that you read, right? Because you have a point of reference on the creator of that content different than just a read thing, like whether it's a blog post or an actual like written review. So focusing on video and or podcasts, how important or weighted are the opinions and points and review factors presented versus like the cult of personality, right? Even on smaller channels, as opposed to, you know, there's some larger podcasts that are obviously pretty influential because they have large audiences that they've built up trust and affinity with. But do you think that personality impacts opinion more there, or is it still just focused on like the review information, the pros and the cons of the game and things like that?
I think that the biggest difference for me in a lot of videos, and I'm reading Keith, I'm reading what you're saying in the chat, and you're kind of right on the money for where I think happened. But I think that there are some people that are better at presenting information in ways that are useful to others than, and it's those people that can literally, you know, lay out the pros and cons of something. That might come through personality, or it might come through just study of how to talk and make other people understand what you're trying to say. I think there's a little bit of both in the industry. Like, some people are literally popular because their personality is so amazing that it just transcends any other problems you might have with them. But the people that really, I think, move games or make opinions are those that can present information in a useful way for multiple people, not just people like themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think for reviews, it's important for me to know, I realize that there are some people that get free review copies of games, and there are some people that ask for free review copies of games, and there are some people that don't. I have literally never asked for a review copy of a game, because I don't have a formal review anything. I talk about them on podcasts, but everything that I say about a game is genuine. I'm not paid to do it. If a reviewer gives me a copy of the game because they want to give me a copy of the game, I don't promise them anything. And in fact, I'll be like, hey, you know, I don't really have any intention about talking about this. So, you know, everything that I'm given, which is not a lot, by the way, but I have been given games before. If I really like it, I will talk about it. And sometimes I'm surprised by it because it's a game that I didn't know that I would like, and then I played it and I love it and I want to talk about it. But everything that I say is genuine, 100%. I'm not paid to do anything, and I think that is important for me. Just knowing that people that get copies like for free, because I think there is a weird obligation, like I gotta stay neutral, and there's some people that don't. There's some people that don't feel that way, but I honestly think that they don't get as many review copies, and I think that has to affect how a reviewer does that stuff. I mean, it just has to.
I almost feel like you've stumbled on a whole different topic that we could go on in a different episode. No, not in a bad way, but like, I think that there's integrity in journalism, integrity in gaming. Oh, sister. No. I'm getting closer to the cherry though, so I'm happy. Like, there's some serious issues or concerns about integrity in gaming. Like, I found out that I heard a unfortunate story, and I haven't personally verified it, that, you know, a reviewer used press access to gain copies of games that then they sold for a profit. And I feel like that's horrible. But when you talk about it in context of the content that's put out. I think you have the whole issue of paid previews of games on Kickstarter, which I know the Dice Tower stopped doing because there were so many people pretty upset about it because they saw it as a conflict of interest to their status as reviewers, to just people who are producing content on their own but really have no experience, or Stephanie, to your point, kind of have a different view on what reviews or content can or should be. And I'm not trying to criticize or promote one as superior to the other, but it's just, I do think that when you think about board game content, and if we're saying, and maybe we're not, maybe it's only a very small subset of content producers that are actually influential in the hobby. But if we're saying that we think content creators can be influential in the hobby and can impact game sales, then I think there's a really interesting dialogue that could be had around like integrity. Who do you trust? Why do you trust them? When money or sponsorship comes into play, how does that impact it? And things like that. But I also think that that's not the topic for today necessarily. So can you write that one down? Because I think that you came up with a good one. Oh my gosh, you're so good.
You're stumbling onto something. I'm kind of like, because I'm just getting into the point where like I have a little bit of like review copies and stuff coming in, and I'm trying to like figure out where I'm comfortable. So I'm like, I would rather listen to you guys talk about that than be on the episode.
It's not how it works.
Mags, we'll just have a separate call about that, and we'll just talk all about it.
Okay. Thank you.
But I really, what's funny is I don't use content. I don't watch reviews to learn how to play the game. And so many reviews include significant time dedicated to how to play the game. And I don't mind that.
So with you.
Hopefully with timestamps so you can skip right through it.
Yeah. Click. Thankfully, like there's usually like they do the board, like they focus on the board and then they go to their face. Can, like, so I go
like
skin. Yeah.
And it's about 3 minutes till the end. That's about where you go.
Right. And so like even in written
this is
reviews.
How I feel about the game.
Like God bless her, but there's this great, who I only discovered like within the past year. There's this great reviewer who writes her reviews on Board Game Geek named Mina. Melina.
So
I don't. Oh God, I feel really bad. I don't know how to pronounce her.
I just call her Mina because that's what she puts on her blog.
Yes, cardboard. Yeah.
So
she does great reviews, but even with her great reviews, I skip to her pros and cons. Like just because that's what I want to hear. And you know what? Even if I didn't know her, I would still care about her opinions if they're well supported. Like this is what I like. If she goes like, it's stupid, go away. I don't want to waste my time. But she gives really well thought out pros and cons to the games, and that's what really fascinates me.
If y'all don't read Mina's Fresh Cardboard and you like any sort of, she mostly does heavy Euros. She's sort of in like what I love. So you need to read her. She's on Board Game Geek. She's amazing. But
She's
yeah,
so
I agree. I skip right through how to play all that stuff.
Oh, see,
like, those pictures are pretty.
The idea that I had for a show for myself and my roommate. He said, I just dump out all the pieces without reading the rules and try to play. And that was my idea. I'm just saying it right now so it's live, so it's out there, so you guys all know this is my idea.
Did you just call dibs?
On someone that showed up in chat, she's like, no.
Dibs. Okay, so
I would watch this show, Stephanie. I'm just saying, I would watch this show.
We have some test footage that I should release because it's hilarious.
With Eric?
Yes.
With Eric? Oh,
yes.
Eric's hilarious.
Eric is my roommate. He's so great. Bruce Cruiser on BGG and EA Savoy on Twitter, although he never tweets anymore. So we would just like start and just play the game, and we would just like make up rules and just kind of like figure out how to play the game. And then at the end, we would read the rules that wouldn't be on the video, and then we would be like, okay, here's the funny things that we did that were wrong or whatever, and then we would say like our opinion of the game. But so as far as I have been on a lot of different podcasts with different feels, and as far as like teaching how to play a game before you review it, I get very high level, like, this is the type of game that it is. It involves deduction, bluffing, da-da-da-da, and some of the key mechanisms are this, and, like, this made me feel good because whatever. Like, I felt good whenever I was bidding because I was influencing the game or, like, whatever reason. So I'll say, like, the reason why I liked it and why I felt good about the game, and then it's up to whoever to decide if they're like, that's something that I feel good about too. Or I might say, like in Tales of Arabian Nights, which is, people say it's a fantastic game. That's cool, not my experience with it. I don't like using victory points as currency, and I felt like the game was random without being fun, and there are other story play games that I'd rather play instead. I'm sure it's a great game, but I gave my reasons for like certain reactions to different parts of the game, and then didn't say how to play the game, you know? Because, like, who even knows how to play the game? You just, like, read things. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even as you were talking, though, it brought up another point, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Wil Wheaton, right? Because Wheaton's talking to, theoretically, he's talking mostly to an uneducated audience, and I'm going to take that word back, even though I can't, because this is technically live.
Really, in my head, I was screaming.
Yeah, sorry. Like, I don't mean uneducated, but like, well, because as Stephanie was talking about, like, there, and somebody, I just randomly in the chat saw the word jargon. And I do think that, like, to shorthand, part of it is I'm so deep in the hobby that there's shorthand. There is a language, right? And it's so easy. I'm terrible about this, but I forget that it's a language most, especially new gamers, don't speak. You know, even about like victory points or worker placement or action selection or drafting even. These are all things that like not everybody will inherently understand. And I do think that when you look especially at like video reviews or podcasts, when they do go into the rules a little bit more, if it helps kind of break through some of that jargon or some of that gamer language to help newer players understand how the game is played, then I think there's a lot of value in that. And that may be why I skip it, because there's just some rhythm, some pattern. Like if it's worker placement, okay, got it. I don't need to hear anything else.
Yeah, but you're hitting on a point of mine that I love to stress, that I feel that our hobby is so new and so small that people do not know how to define their audience yet. Like, when you're starting up a blog or a podcast or anything... Are we going to
go there? I'm excited to
go there. Like,
let's go there.
You have to know who you want to speak with. Do you want to speak with the new hobby person that doesn't know what worker placement is? Or do you want to just, like, speak to only one niche part of an already niche hobby? Like, how do you want to appeal to people? Yes. And I feel that most content providers, as I meet them, have zero idea of who they're speaking to. They want to appeal to everybody.
And they have zero idea how to market themselves.
For sure. On onboard games,
well, that's a whole nother
we
thing.
Specifically say that we are appealing to those that have an advanced knowledge of the hobby. 100%. Right. It's on our website. It's on the guild. So we talk about games at a high level. I don't explain how to play code names at this point. Like, it's assumed that you know how to play the game, and if you don't, that you can find that out if you would like. So whenever we talk about a game, we almost never talk about how to play it unless it's a brand new game or one that isn't out yet.
All right, number 2. It's happening.
Nice. Where did you get that? Right, Stephanie, that just came out of nowhere, right? Like, she literally just... Did she leave and I didn't notice?
Nope.
Oh my god. She's a witch.
She's
that was the idea.
That's right, girl. You dunked that line.
Wow. Okay, so that's a good time to throw up our signature cocktail for those that weren't watching at the beginning of the show. Here it is, the Watch It Sipped cocktail, which you've been doing the whole time, watching us sip on things, talk about games. We do this live on Twitch every Friday-ish. And we're going to feature a fun cocktail. Tweet at us your recipes.
Every other Friday, right?
That's all. Yeah, it's whatever. When we
every Friday, every other, same thing.
When we fucking
stop getting bogged down in minutia, Marguerite.
Oh, OC Brad. That's the worst joke.
Brad's the best. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
I almost spit up my non-signature cocktail at that, if that helps.
The chat is hysterical. I love the chat so much.
Okay, sorry. I put us off our topic.
Did I miss something in the chat? Why is everything Wil? Everything is about Wil.
Because we mentioned the
Wil
Wheaton Effect.
We're over Wil now. Other things in board game media. So Kickstarter. So
I'm sorry. Kickstarter videos crack me up. I'm sorry. Okay, carry on. I love you, Stephanie. You're beautiful and perfect.
This is true. Can confirm.
I'm sorry.
Can confirm.
I'm sorry. Can't confirm.
No, Kickstarter. So Kickstarter, whenever board games like were happening on Kickstarter, like in the early days, 2009, 2010, and then how they are now, totally different. Why is that funny? That's totally. It's just it's a thing on Suze for a second. I'm putting the square. I'm locking it on you.
No, don't do that
right now. Yeah, we're just watching you right now.
No, I don't know what to do with my face.
I have power, okay?
No, you can mute me too. So, you should probably do that. No, I it's interesting because Kickstarter and this is a whole separate show, right? So, but it seems very important that projects have previews of the game. Experienced gamers just want that kind of content, confidence, bolstering their ability to feel confident in the project. But it's really interesting on a couple of levels. One, a lot of Kickstarter's campaign runners make their own little like intro video, and the quality of those has a comical range in quality. And literally, because I do this Kickstarter segment, I watch a lot of them, and I literally watched a game that plays in 5 minutes described in a 7-minute video, and I saw a game that plays in 3 hours described in a 5-minute video, and it's just like, I don't understand. But when it comes to content creators, I'm interested to understand better how, like, when previews are paid versus when they're not paid. I have found inconsistent disclosure in that kind of content on a page.
Oh, like specifically on Kickstarter?
Yeah, like I was, I received a prototype of this game and I was paid to provide this preview. I actually don't see a lot of that disclosure, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of them are paid previews. I also find that a lot of content creators, conversely, because there's such an influx of games to Kickstarter that demand or need this content, that a lot of younger, newer content creators find it like a really ripe field to plow for content opportunities. So maybe they aren't being paid and they're just producing the content on their own. But going back to the integrity thing, it's interesting to see when you see the same person in like 12 campaigns.
Ooh, girl, I know what you talk about.
And their findings are either incredibly generic or incredibly similar. I personally have lost confidence in that element of a Kickstarter page, but I am old and jaded and cynical, so take that with a big old grain of salt.
But you are like a board game insider, so most people will not see or know that.
Absolutely, which is perhaps why I have emotions about that. Anyway, but I don't know, Stephanie. So
yeah, there's nothing to prevent people from doing that, and people can make content and say, I love every game that's ever made. Like, there's nothing to stop anyone from doing that. So I just like to think that people, I mean, even if people don't agree with the reviews or whatever, like, if you're enjoying the content, or, I mean, I guess that's still cool, and it brings people to the hobby, hopefully. So, even if you're not being genuine, you're like, I like this game, but, like, I really didn't like this game, then I guess I kind of feel like I wish people felt like they could be honest, but I don't feel like I will never be comfortable that that's a place that I want to, like, super negative talk about a game. Like, even my feelings about Tales of Arabian Nights, I don't think it's a bad game. I just think that it has things in it that I don't care for in a game.
Right.
Other people are totally fine with it. And actually, Ace said he loves using victory points as currency because he likes, like, that balance and that, like, tenuous
I like
whatever.
it too.
Yeah, that tension. I don't care for that. So if I say that about a game, I'm not going, this game is garbage, throw it in the trash. I'm just saying this is a thing about the game that I didn't care for. And probably if that's in any game, I'm not going to care for it. But I think that, you know, it just, if anything's covered in media, whether it's a good review or a bad review, it brings attention to that game. So if there's just any review, the worst thing you can do for your game is not to have 10 bad reviews about it. It's to have no reviews about it.
100%.
The lack of a BGG page for a game, like, that kills it for me.
I'm reader's bonus.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not real. I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't a game, I guess.
Yeah, but I come across a lot of them because people. I work in a retail store, so they try and sell so many things, and I look up these games that they're trying to tell me are amazing and they're magic plus blah blah blah, but without the blah. Like, that's always their line. And I go to BGG and I'm like, so they didn't do enough research to even get on the biggest game database on the internet. Like, at some point you have to be at least smart enough to know that the internet is important. I think Kickstarter previews, as someone who came out as a reviewer and then kind of backed out and was like, whoa, I don't want to be that. And I had to try and, like, figure out where I fit into this content industry. People are really overly willing to assume you're going to love their game and send it to you and expect a full review and expect no downsides. And they are very quick to get angry or even to the point where they will badmouth you if you do provide something negative. So at that point, you privately say, hey, if I do a review of your stuff, which takes me a lot of time and effort, it's going to be super negative. Here's my feedback. Please go elsewhere. And it's frustrating. You just want people to gauge it a little bit better if they're going to send you something. And it took me a little while to learn how to know, just to say, oh, no, your game doesn't sound like anything I would want to talk about.
Yeah,
no.
Like, if someone's like, let's send this thematic low strategy cooperative game to Marguerite, then Marguerite would probably be like, thanks.
It's usually, like, who-related card games or Cards Against Humanity, but with blah, blah, blah. Like, those are the ones that people are like, hey, I really think you'll like this. We playtested it with all of our friends or whatever. I don't, like, the 100 people they playtested with cannot be hobby
playtested lots
gamers.
of things with all of my friends, and they think I'm hilarious. Nobody else does.
Yeah. Ugh. So many.
But that's whenever I think it's good, and it's like a good sign of faith if you were just to be like, oh, well, I'm not into this game, but you could maybe send it to, like, you know, Board Game Replay. Like, they love cooperative games. So this might be a really good fit for them. So I think it could be a good, like, you know, keep up the relationship. Like, that's cool. I'm not really into this game, but let me tell you where you can send it elsewhere. Because I've done that for a few publishers, like, oh, let me tell you some, like, smaller reviewers that would really enjoy your game if, you know, you don't have the cash to pay for some of the larger reviewers that have bigger audiences.
But I do still, we all do. We wonder who gets paid what for what. And it's frustrating because, you know, people are getting paid for it, but it's not like people offer you money. Like, I can tell you right now, no one offered me money for any review ever. Like, I don't get dollars for reviews. But so it's not as widespread as all that, but there are definitely people that are taking cash for previews, and whether or not
being paid as a preview service, theoretically not being paid for the review.
Right.
Are you guys reading chat? This is just hysterical.
This is amazing. I liked your letters from Will Chapel made me laugh.
So this is a thing that actually,
so many puns.
Actually, Mags, Susan, and I have done with some other people is we've changed board games into other stuff, and I love the variant of making it a Wil Wheaton game. But we've changed other games in other ways, which maybe we'll talk about after we've had several drinks later, next episode, as we get deeper into the episodes. But I am
Two wheels and a boom.
Tiny epic Wil. 2 wheels and a boom is probably it. That's probably it. 2 wheels and a boom is probably it. I love it.
I feel like Will's name could be used like the word Smurf, right? Where it could just be anything. You know, like the Smurf language.
Willing Wil.
Like, yeah. So, like, it's Tiny Epic Wil is like, you know, Tiny Wil. Wil Epic Wil.
Wil Epic Kingdom? Tiny
Can
Wil.
I just say
Yeah,
this
there
one?
we go.
Because I haven't read all of the chat, but I gotta say this one. Millennium Blades. You're welcome.
Wil Band. That's like too real for me. Instead of
Oh my
Bond. Wil Band.
Oh my gosh, we're so off the rails. This is wild.
We are off the rails. So we originally planned for our show to be about 90 minutes, so we are over that threshold. We always have a ton of people still here after 90 minutes, though. So please let us know, like, what do you want for the show? How long do you want the show to be? We want you to help us make this show because we don't want to work hard to do it. We want you to do all the work. So, yeah, everyone's nodding. Cool. So we're all in agreement that we want you to do all the work and for you to tell us how long you want the show to be. Do you want us just to chat forever? We may not be able to do that. But wow, seriously, 7 Wilder.
At the gates of Willang got me.
Yeah.
Apparently Millennium Blades is what got the whole shit show started. Thanks, Eric.
Nicely done.
Nicely worked.
Mm.
Will for it.
Okay.
Yes, less work for us is good. I love it.
We still have 22 minutes to hit 90. That is not.
That should be true.
That is accurate.
You
That
have
is
no sense of
You are
time.
correct. I don't. Well, it's because of Nerd Nighters. Like, we started at 8:30 and ended at 10, and so for some reason I was thinking that we ended at 11. But yeah, 11:30. You're so right, Brad. We will
So,
just keep...
does that make me ace?
Yes.
If you're mistaking us for Nerd Nighters, can I be ace?
That means Matt.
Does that make me
JR?
I'm gonna take everyone Concordia right now.
What? So, oh wait, go ahead, Steph.
So I was going to say, so since we're on Twitch, let's talk about Twitch and how that is a medium of media that is affecting the board game industry, because right now Twitch is predominantly video games, like by a landslide, but board games are creeping on up there. Geek and Sundry does a thing. We're starting a thing. There are some other channels that are doing things. I think it started out as mostly like marathons, when people would do marathons and stuff like that. Like the three of us have all participated in the Extra Life Marathon at Card Kingdom and or Mox Boarding House for that. But yeah, people are doing like regular shows like we are on Twitch now. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that that's a good space for it?
I do and I don't. So for the last couple of weeks, so when we decided to make this show, Steph and I and Nicole and Suze had all kind of come together trying to make the show and trying to figure out how it's going to work. I'm so jealous right now. Although mine are delicious Bing cherries. None of that maraschino stuff. Come on.
You don't know me.
But-
You don't know my cherries. You don't know.
I can tell.
I had the Morello cherries. They're very fancy.
They are maraschino, though. I wish they were Bing cherries.
Well, I wanted maraschino, but I don't have any in the house. I had Bing cherries, no problem.
They are surprisingly super hard to find at the grocery store.
They must hide them.
They are either, I'm going to tell you, if you're ever looking for maraschino cherries, this is an inside scoop right now. They are either in the canned fruit, or they are with the olives, or
That's what I was going to say.
they are with, this is where
Baking
I
supplies.
found them. They are with the icing and the baking supplies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like next to the chopped walnuts and stuff. But what was I saying? No, I was saying something. Wait, I was distracted
really
with cherries.
important. It was really important.
Twitch.
It's
You were talking about Twitch. Twitch and board
Okay,
games.
so I've been watching a little bit of Twitch, and this morning, of all random things, Gamelin Games said that they're coming out with some Twitch channel something. I don't know. But overwhelmingly, you find how to plays on Twitch at this point, which are a little awkward over Twitch so far. And I've had more fun watching people play stupid games or light games or just talk than try and teach me something. Mm-hmm. I don't know that when it's live, I'm not ready to learn that game right
no,
then.
I think the teaching is kind of like a secondary effect. I think you most importantly just want entertainment. I think when you're watching Twitch. So I think the shows that I've been watching, primarily I've been watching Playing Board Games, which is at Board Game Twitch on Twitter. I mentioned it before. They're on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays at 8:30 Central, I think. But so yeah, they're mostly just entertainment. But you will also learn how to play the game because they will sometimes teach the game, but not always, because if all of the players know how to play the game, then they're not going to spend time teaching the game. But you can kind of talk in chat and go, okay, what's going on with this game? Or like other people in chat might go, this is how you play the game, yada, yada, yada. So, but I think that's an after effect. I think you're not watching, like going, where can I find to learn how to play games on Twitch right now? Like you just want entertainment. Or you're like, I really wish I could play a game right now. And maybe you don't have anyone to play with. Maybe you don't want to play on Board Game Arena or Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator. You just kind of want to watch. And this is where you go for Twitch.
Which is like an interesting distinction, though, between like Twitch and YouTube versus like blogs or Facebook groups or things like that, right? Because people engage with the content in a different way and are like, there's not a Twitch board game community. There's not even like a YouTube board game community. You know what I'm saying?
I disagree.
Okay, well then that's awesome. Then you can disagree with me verbally in a second. Because I don't see it. And that's because I'm old and I don't hang out in all these newfangled media centers. But it just seems like, people may engage on Twitch and they may have like regular shows that they engage with and then they kind of have that chat. But certainly like on Twitter or in like the Facebook groups, you see a much more, like to me, you see this or board game group, geek, the B and the G and the G forum thing. Like you see people connect and get to know each other and like their conversations trail and they start up and they ebb and they flow and they kind of continue on. Whereas like it seems like on Twitch and on YouTube, the video cast centers, it just seems much more either centric around a specific event or around a specific show. And that feels less community-ish to me. But I would love to hear your POV, Marguerite.
So I legit have a community on YouTube, right? There are 20 to 30 individuals that we bounce around because I watch video content a lot. And then I make it my business that about 90% of the time I watch a video, I make a comment. Like, that's my personal prerogative. I make comments because comments feel good when you make content. So I try and, like, pass that along. And when you watch a lot of YouTube videos that are games but not necessarily, like, how-to-plays, you find the same people over and over. So you have these, like, crazy conversations in between different videos. There's, like, a whole meta community there.
Okay,
and
right.
I think what helped it along the most was the integration with Google+, which everyone hated except for me. It made it where you kind of connect with people, you add them to circles or whatever, and then every time you see them in a different forum place, you kind of know who people are and have some background with them. It's really actually neat to me. And then, and Lackey put up a question just when we have a second.
I didn't. Okay, let's see.
He was asking if you would watch stuff sorry.
He says, Stephanie, Maggie, Suze, would you watch BGA or Tabletopia, or it's a different show, BGA, Tabletopia, or TTS as a spectator on Twitch? I would, if it was people that I found were interesting, which is what I was talking about earlier. I find us interesting. So I would watch us play.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, someone has to. No, and the show that I watch on Twitch right now, I would watch them play pretty much anything. So just because they are hilarious and they're insightful and they're informative, and that's what I'm looking for, is that entertainment. So yeah, I think for sure, and I think other people would. I don't know. I mean, chat. What do you feel about that? Would you spectate watching someone play a digital board game, essentially? Like, if we were to play a game, would you watch that? Would you watch us play Spirium on BGA?
Oh, I like Spirium.
I do too. There was a whole like chat about it on Twitter the other day because I think Robin Lee's finally got a copy, And I had at one point tried to ship him one from here, and it was like $40 shipping for a $15 game. Well, and I love my Spirium. I would never ever give it up. So it was one that I would not give away. One thing I will say for Twitch, if you like Magic and you watch streamers, there's a community there as well. So I think that will translate to board games the same way it did with Magic. Like, I got on a Twitch stream this morning of someone I had never watched stream, but half the chat were people I knew. So I could still kind of feel part of the community and talk, but I hadn't actually interacted with that streamer very often. So...
Yeah, no, I think that there is the live hangout on YouTube, and you can do that, but I think that they're just not as advanced as Twitch is with that live community. And I think that, like Brad is like mentioning inside jokes from the Playing Board Games stream because,
Dings!
like, right, and
I saw that.
Yeah, so like we're regulars, so we have these inside jokes, and like I feel like I wouldn't know Agent Vetter, I would know Brad, I wouldn't know even Elaki, Eric as much as I do had we not all met in this other Twitch stream chat. So I think that there's definitely something there, but I do think that there's not a ton of people doing it, but I think that people are starting to do it. And I'm glad that we're checking it out. So
I saw you were doing Nerd Syrup with Daryl. That was live, right?
It was and wasn't. It was. It was.
Sorry.
It's live in that they just kind of let it go live, and it's fine because we never say anything that's like whatever. But yeah, so they just let it go live, but they did chop it up into different segments, and it's on the Meeple Syrup channel. It's pretty raw. It's not really edited, except for just some like beforehand chatter and in between chatter. But yeah, they allow it to go live, and then I don't know how it works, but it's like a private video though, so I don't know. But somehow it works. Somehow they do it.
I don't know how that works, but I only saw like a snippet of it because I didn't know what was happening.
Well, you can check it out on the Meeple Syrup Show on YouTube. There's
Apparently.
3 separate segments. We did an Origins preview 2016, just to let you guys know. So we talked about our top 10 each, myself and Daryl, and Sen kind of like moderated MC'd. So I did my top 10 releases I'm looking forward to at Origins, and then Daryl did the same, and then the top 10 demo-only games, which there's a ton not being released at Origins this year.
Yeah.
That should have been released at Origins this year that will be demo-only. And then our top 10 like tips that are Origin-specific that could apply to some other conventions, but mostly they're Origin-specific. So
It was basically all Guilds of London, wasn't it? Every last piece.
No, I didn't try to like cut out publishers, but I was trying not to make it the Tasty Menstrual Show again, because that's what we made this show. But yeah, no, but there were so many. There's actually quite a few that I was looking forward to, but the demos there was a ton because I feel like they should have been released at Origins, or they were originally supposed to be released at Origins. So I think that Gen Con is gonna be crazy. Like,
I agree.
Because these, I feel like, are probably gonna be ready by Gen Con. I hope, or I'm sure they're hoping, right? If they're not, it is con season, so it's kind of like if they're not, it's like, well, we have Essen, and then if they're not going to Essen, it's like, well, we have BGG, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen though. BGG is so chill. Stop trying to put things out at BGG.
I know, yeah.
Stop it.
Everyone, we're all the internet right now.
All of it.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah, don't release games at BGG. Like, Aldi's probably like, what the fuck, Steph?
No, release them at Essen, because BGG is Essen US.
BGG is Essen US, for sure. Yeah. SNS.
Release them at Essen and then bring them and make them available to us at BGG. Ta-da!
Yeah, but we like BGG the way that it is, and I think that Aldi and the BGG crew do, like, they do too. So
it's magic. If only it wasn't at the airport in Dallas.
Oh my god, the vegetarian food.
Love that. Though.
Oh my god, that like I literally have nightmares about that
really
pizza.
matter. Yeah.
I starved for that whole week.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
We need to bring snacks. We had that room at the kitchen and everything, and we all brought snacks.
I wasn't part of your Tuesday. Like, day 0 was so hard for me.
Well, that's because Chris and Kyle were, like, farting in that room the whole time, so...
Well, I didn't show up for day 0, which is when the food run went, because I stay later to see my sister after, so I don't do day 0. Yeah, no, BGG was rough. No food everywhere.
Yeah, the food, it's not as great as Origins. The local food at Origins is pretty amazing. The Columbus is like this mini foodie city, so there's a bunch of food to eat there. So
yeah, I'm pretty envious about people going to Origins. If I were to add a con to my con schedule, which I totally can't do for a variety of reasons, it would totally be Origins. It just, even if there aren't games released, it seems like Origins has most of everything I love about BGG Con except better food. So
except the person that runs it. Sorry.
Oh, that's right.
I don't go to Origins, but
because of that.
There.
Because of that,
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Then, because I've heard plenty of stories, but like for you to make that choice, like it seems like maybe I haven't heard the big stories, like the secret big
maybe
stories.
Not. I don't know. I'm not trying to cause trouble. I don't go to many cons. Like, I have to pay my own way, so I literally I spent my tax refund to get to Gen Con this year. I will spend months saving for BGG. Like, that's how I get to cons. But if I could do another con, honestly, it might be Dice Tower Con at this point. Even though I'm not super active at Dice Tower, but
so I went to Dice Tower Con last year, and I immediately re-upped for this year because one, they're moving to a new venue, which I'm excited about.
Beautiful.
I did not love last year's venue. The only bad thing about Dice Tower Con is it's in flipping Orlando in July.
I would be inside in a puddle the whole time. Yeah,
but Dice Tower Con, it's really small. It's growing really rapidly, like they're doubling. But it's like a local convention, but big. Like, right. It's all about the games. It's all about the people, but there are publishers there, that are, and the publisher presence is growing, and they're not doing releases there, but that means you can do lots of demos and things like that. You can buy games there. I remember being there, and it was like what we love about BGG Con, right? It was chill, and you just got to hang with people and meet people and play games.
Geekway was so chill.
Yeah, Geekway sounds... Oh, that's right. Geekway sounds so amazing.
So, Geekway, Kubla Con, there are so many of these, smaller cons I would really love to at least take one time to go and do. I would also love an invite to Lobster Trap. Anyone in the chat? Anyone listening? I would love to go to the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard great things about Lobster Trap, too.
Well, we're lucky enough to have Sasquatch out here, which is, really fun and chill and small, and I've heard Lobster Trap is very similar.
Yes, and Orca Con. Eric, thank you for bringing up Orca Con. Mags and I went to Orca Con. It feels like it was last year, but I guess that was earlier.
It was January, because it's January.
Suze didn't get to go, but maybe Suze will get to go someday. Are you frowning? Let's just put it on Suze and frowning.
It's Everett in January. You can do it.
No, it didn't work out because I hadn't planned ahead, but it would be cool to go this time. And they're on Kickstarter, literally right now, aren't they?
Literally right now, Orca Con in Everett, Washington. You can hang out with me, and we'll go to that one restaurant up the street that's really good.
What, Red
one.
Something? What is it?
Yeah, whatever that one place was.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't remember the name of it, but it was really good.
Yeah.
I think the thing with conventions that's important to remember, because I know one of the things that I struggle with a lot is con envy online, right? Because we're so tapped in online to the online community, and online you see just so much con envy as con season hits, and I really struggle with that, and that's partly why I started Gen Can't, to try to help with that a little bit. But going to conventions, especially the big ones, takes investment, right? And it's people who go, a lot of people who go are doing so similar to Maggie. Like, you're prioritizing your dollars and you're prioritizing your vacation time to make that happen. And that's your choice. And that's awesome. But like, one thing I'm really glad about the growth of the hobby and people realizing that conventions are doable is the springing up of these smaller local conventions, yes, like Kubla Con, like Orca Con, like Emerald City Tabletop, like all this other stuff. Because I'm hoping more and more people will get a chance to go to local smaller conventions. Yeah, it won't be Essen. Yeah, it won't be Gen Con, but that's okay because
it's more about just people.
The con is about together. The people in game.
Yeah, getting together exactly. And playing games. And for me, and I think for other people too, just meeting with people that you don't get to meet with all the time, that you interact with on the internet a lot. So just meeting in a central location and not just like, and in a local, like in a neutral place, not like a friendly local game store or whatever, but, you know, at a hotel or a convention center. But all that costs money. Someone has to put that on. It has to cost something. So it depends on what you're willing to pay. Like, I think Geekway was like 50 something bucks for 4 days of gaming. That's pretty great for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there were giveaways and stuff like that, and honestly, I could kind of like take or leave those. Like, I don't care about those things. I know that those are important to some people, but I really just want to play games and like hang out with people and hear about new games and maybe get to like meet with publishers and designers and stuff like that. So I'm there basically for the people in the game. So I would love to win a game. That would be great, but I never win anything. So
yeah, and winning a
except
game when
all
you're
the games
flying,
you play,
it messes with your luggage counts, man. Like, depending on what the game is, an amazing game, yes, very appreciative. But when I like 1 year, Brian won all of the Pathfinder Adventure card game, which is just not our speed. That's a lot of boxes. It was like 6 feet worth of boxes. We had to just give it away to someone else at the con because we couldn't get it home.
I got a Amerigo, bringing that back from like Delaware for one of the unpubs. I was like, do I buy a seat on a plane? No, I had to give it to someone local in North Carolina, and they held it for like a year until I found, and they even played it. Matt Wolf and them, they played it. But I mean, I guess I can't blame them.
They played it.
Yeah, him and like Ruth. They had it for like a year until I finally got it, and I still haven't played it because it's like tainted. I need to play it. That needs to be the next game I play.
Got best strategy.
What did they do to it when they played it? Oh my good golly, dang. Yeah. Well, I went to BGGCon and I got that Spiel advent calendar, which again was bigger than the Dilluvia Project board. See, right? I brought it full circle. Full circle, right? And so like I had this massive box. Anybody who's seen this, like, it is massive, right? And I'm like, well, I can't pay for freight. It wasn't that heavy, right? So I tore it open, and then like, you guys, the content was like this. It was so like this, and I'm like, okay, I'll throw that in my purse. Thanks for that, shipping nightmare. Yeah, box sizes.
You could just have mags steal components of your game, and then your game won't be as heavy.
Everything's way lighter.
So Stephanie, no joke, because of your story with Mafia de Cuba and Marguerite's larcenous ways, every time I play, like, it was my Dilluvia project that we played with the other day. I had to go home and count every cube in that game to make sure that she didn't abscond with any. It was really stressful.
I really wish I had a cube within reach right now. There's one like a little ways away.
What would you do?
And you'd be like,
yeah, what are you gonna do?
No, you don't scare me, lady with the purple hair. You don't scare me.
I'm not sure who you're talking to, actually.
Oh, that's a good point. By the way, Mark, you guys, your hair's so pretty. Stupid black hair. I want purple hair.
Used to be dyed Stronghold red underneath.
Yeah, because you bleached the crap out of me. I mean, you want to talk about a convention experience? How about like kneeling in your hotel bathroom for 2 hours while Stephanie and Tiffany are back there? Like, yeah, there's a lot of bleach involved. It wasn't pretty.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking now.
We played unemployed while you were getting bleached. It was fun.
That's right. Oh my gosh. And then you all played it while I was sleeping too. Totally not awkward having people play a party game in my hotel room while I'm sleeping in the bed next to them.
Yes, it was like Paul and Bebo and Steve. It was really ridiculous.
It was entertaining.
I remember hearing about this. So, we're probably gonna wrap it up. Is there any last things that you want to leave the internet with before I do the outro? Marguerite?
So if you're following us here, you should definitely give us a follow on Twitch, and you should refresh Poor Stephanie's Drink. We started a website. It's called Meeples Included. It's meeplesincluded.com. We are also on Facebook and Twitter under Meeples Included. It's amazing, and you should follow us. It's like my favorite 8 people on the earth working with me to do reviews and game content, and I love it so much. And we are keeping a mindfulness about inclusivity and diversity and speaking on those subjects. And everyone should go from here and go and report Opie Go on Kickstarter and try and get that banned right now. And that's all I have to say.
Suze?
What Marguerite said.
Yeah, good. Did it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would just like to close with, once again, thank you all for joining us. We hope that you had fun. We have a lot of fun doing this. Honestly, we would probably still have fun if nobody was in chat just because we're ridiculous, but it actually really, really, really helps whenever all of you show up because I think that you're all hysterical, and then we can all hang out together. Google Hangouts doesn't allow for more than 10 people right now, but maybe one day we could do like 30 people, and it would be absolute chaos and amazing.
That would be wild.
Yeah. Eventually, I think that we would like to invite some of you on, and as we mentioned before, we would love to play like some Jackbox TV games with you guys, like Quiplash. I don't know if any of you are familiar with those games, but they are games online that we can all play together, and then the rest of the people that aren't playing can like be in the game audience and like vote on their favorite thing and stuff like that. So that is stuff that we would love to do in the future. But keep sending us your suggestions, tweet at us, and send us your show topics, drink suggestions. If you made some cool drinks, we had a bunch of fun ones suggested. I don't have those in front of me right now, but I will read them off next time and who gave us those like 5 or 6 suggestions because they were pretty hilarious. So with that, if you will just join us on the 24th of June, we will be back at 10 p.m. Central with more games on the rocks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. This is where we're gonna mute everybody.
The power. So power.
Or I'll just keep talking. I don't know if you can see. I know that they can still hear us, but I don't know if you can see my lovely graphic there. But I
Not yet.
want to.
Hold on.
I did not want to change out the graphic, so I just MS painted it because I
Okay.
Nice.
am a lazy.
You are so skilled with that MS Paint.
MS Paint is a truly versatile. That is classy.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Wow.
man. Oh, man, that's good.
Keep on going.
Maybe that's what I'm going to start contributing to the show, is doing the graphic.
Whoa.
If we can just force you to do that by doing enough MS
What are you
Paint.
saying? What are you? I don't understand. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying your MS Paint job is shit, and that I can do better. I'm sorry, was that clear enough for you?
The chat could see the
You muted us. They can't hear shit.
Oh my god. You know what?
See,
on that note, I'm muting Suze. Suze is being muted.
You had
Suze is
it
being muted.
You had us
You're
muted.
being muted.